The Museum of Failure is a collection of failed innovations from all around the world. My basic training is as a clinical psychologist. I got kind of tired of that, so I moved into doing more work with organizational groups. That led to a Ph.D. focusing on how companies can create a climate that's more innovative. And that's where I started getting obsessed with the literature on failure and learning from failure. And that led to the Museum of Failure.
Together with my partner, Josephine Baudot, we brought the Museum of Failure to Industry City, Brooklyn. Dr. Samuel West began collecting so-called failures about 2 decades ago. The idea really is to spark that conversation about failure, to use it as a platform for learning and for growth.
Innovation, if you break it down, it's about the activities of experimentation. So you test things out and see what happens. And about exploration, where you try to discover new paths and new methods. Experimentation and exploration are very prone to failure. Sometimes they don't get it right and they launch products that then fail, and then they end up in the Museum of Failure. I think we need to de-stigmatize failure universally, as long as the failure is done in the name of progress. So I don't want people just to be sloppy or not care, but failure when you're actually trying to push things forward, that should not be stigmatized.
We have technological failures, medical failures. The toys are definitely a fun section. Food failures, transportation failures. There's even a mature adult section.
The Museum of Failure, to me, is one of the most magical places.
There's a lot of really interesting failures, but what I also thought was neat is sometimes products failed not because they weren't good, but because they didn't realize what was going on around them from a competitive standpoint. So we saw that Blockbuster failed and they missed an opportunity to join with Netflix. So they could have had a good product, but they didn't realize the change of the environment around them.
The Trabant from Eastern Germany is definitely one of my favorite because it's also one of the newest items in the collection. It's a car from the Soviet bloc. The Trabant is such a bad car. It was claimed that the Trabant gave communism a bad name. It's a defiance of failure. It sold very well because there were no other options. So despite being an absolute failure in so many ways, the Trabant was not a commercial failure.
There are lots of fun things like the hula chair.
People love that, especially when you think about it, that this was a chair designed for the workplace, for a desk job.
The truth of the matter is when your chair is vibrating that much, you can't really focus or take people seriously at work.
Which makes it really somewhat ridiculous and very comical.
I really love Little Miss No Name. She's this doll that was created to have young girls have compassion for other people. But the doll looks like a scary doll and is now like this cult classic in horror YouTube films.
Cabbage Patch was wildly successful and there was like a Cabbage Patch craze, but the Snack Time Cabbage Patch doll didn't do quite as well because it had a mechanism that its mouth could chew, and it was chewing on children's fingers and hair. Everyone who had a lawn had jarts. Now that we look at it and we're like, they look very weaponized, but at the time it seemed like a good idea.
It's easy now to, with hindsight, to look back and say, oh, they were so crazy and silly and stupid back then. But there's things we're doing today that in 10 years and definitely 20 years, we'll look back and say, what? So I think we should be a bit humble also when we look at failures in history.
The Museum of Failure has been a success, and the irony of that is not lost to me. It's inspiring in a way. People leave here kind of feeling more lighthearted and less heavy, because if you fail at something, it doesn't make you a failure, it just means that you learn something new, so you just keep going and try again.
At the museum, we have a failure confessional where visitors can sort of confess their own failures by writing them on a Post-it note, putting up on the wall.
So the Share Your Failure wall has grown organically, but it really tells me the message is resonating with people on a very personal level.
Some are silly, some are sad, some are just, they cause you to think a little bit. Mine is up here too. When I first thought of now I'm going to open Museum of Failure, I bought the domain museumoffailure.com and I was thrilled that it was still available. It wasn't available because I got the confirmation email that said, congratulations, you are the owner of museumoffailure.com. So I'm the only museum curator in the world who cannot spell the word museum.
It's really quite amazing. I watched a little like 7-year-old girl the other day intently writing, and she was writing her failure was not knowing what a guinea pig was. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute.
We were supposed to originally close it on May 14th, but we have extended it to June 18th. So that's very exciting.
I feel really blessed that I've been able to experience the Museum of Failure here at Industry City.
I hope that people that visit the museum are entertained, but that also they understand that we need to accept failure if we want innovation and progress, and we can all improve our learning from failure.
I'm hoping that people are more open to failure, that they are willing to take meaningful risks so that they could be personally successful, and that we can also be successful on a larger macro level.